today we're talking about the 5 steps to ideate with Collect and Prune Brainstorming. What does that mean? So I'm going to start by asking you guys a couple of questions. And that is, have you ever felt frustrated because you keep trying to solve the same problem and you're unable to find a solution? Yeah, I've been there. Have you ever felt disheartened because you keep spinning like a hamster on a wheel, achieving the same result? I understand because I've been there too. And this is what we often encounter both professionally and personally in different areas of life. And this brainstorming technique that I'm sharing with you today is proven and backed by scientific research, and it can be used either professionally or personally in any area of business. And I'm going to share a little bit about that with you today. Um, it will help you get unstuck and achieve your next win within your organization. So, some ways that I have used this technique in the past is, for example, I work in the technology field. So, technical issues come up all the time. And sometimes the same technical issue comes up over and over and over again. And you just feel really stuck like that hamster. And this is a great way to get the whole team into a room and brainstorm innovative new ways and get that diversity of thinking to help solve that problem and get it unstuck. Another area is with a new project, a new implementation. Let's say you've implemented a new software product, you've released a new analytics data story, you've just completed a new project for your office or rolled out a new process. Well, with any of those things, failure is often defined by not getting the customers to come in and use what you've released, and that can be really frustrating. So this is a great way also to brainstorm what's not working and how to fix it. So that's a great technique in a way that we've used it in the past as well. Another area is, and let's say one of the gaps is that you need a training program. Well, you can use this technique both strategically and tactically, and to create a training program, for example, where you get into the details of exactly what you're going to train on and you brainstorm what all the components are. So that's another great way that you can use this technique and really get a lot done in a little bit of time. And also, besides professionally, you can use it personally. One way that I've used it in the past is family vacations. Where are we going to go on our family vacation? Brainstorm some different ideas. And it's a great way to get buy-in for your audience, whether your audience is your family or your team at work or your entire organization or your customer. This is a great way to involve folks in the process so that there's that ownership and buy-in that'll help you move forward. So I hope that you will gain some value from this session today. And let's go ahead and jump in a little more. If you have just joined us, please say hello in the chat so I know you're here. And also, if you have any questions along the way, please put them in the chat. I will be reserving time at the end for questions. So thank you so much. And I'm so happy to see you here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Heather Hill, and I'm an analytics leadership coach. I'm also an international speaker, published author, and why I'm here sharing this with you is because I have over 15 years in the data and analytics space, but also as a leader. And there's a lot of commonalities to what we can do, regardless of the industry that you're in, that we can do as leaders to really help grow our teams and use innovative thinking, design thinking to really help us be successful. So that's why I'm here sharing it with you. I also really like to encourage diversity in teams, and I really like sharing and helping others learn and grow, as well as learning and growing myself. So I'm excited to share this information with you today. So traditional brainstorming is not effective. Now, luckily for you, I'm not sharing traditional brainstorming with you. I'm sharing a more innovative approach that's based on what has been found in studies to be successful. So let me tell you about traditional brainstorming. Traditional brainstorming originally came out in the 1950s, and it's accredited to Alex Osborne. He created the basic rules to generate ideas. And his idea was that the folks would be put in a room and you would shout out your ideas, you put them all on the board, and you generate as many ideas as possible in that time. That sounds great, but there's a problem. And the problem that numerous psychological studies have shown and been peer reviewed. It's in a number of different journals. I've cited some of this in the end of my deck, as well as additional research. So if you're interested in the deck, as you can see on the little ticker there, subscribe and I'll send it to you this week. But research has proven that this technique actually generates less ideas. And that is because when you're in a room, there is a convergence of ideas. So once one idea is presented, other ideas start to converge with the initial idea, and you don't get the diversity of thinking. So therefore, thinking individually gets better diversity than thinking within a team where you're sharing those ideas aloud. So that's where we're going to get to. What do we need to change in that traditional brainstorming technique? And how do we do it to be successful with our teams and to help create a better culture of learning and growing together in this area? So what we need to do is we need to harness the power of divergence and convergence, converging on the brainstorming of ideas, but also allowing divergent individual thinking at the beginning of the process. And to do this, we're going to leverage our left and our right brains. Well, I think I'm opposite on the video, but we're going to leverage both sides of our brain. Our left brain being our logical side of thinking, and our right brain being our creative side of thinking. And we want to isolate that thinking separately to really delve into the uniqueness of each way of thinking and to get the most out of our brainstorming process. Harvard Business Review wrote a really interesting article about why brainstorming doesn't work. And they had 3 points that are really important in the brainstorming process, which we'll also be factoring in today's session with the 5 steps. And that is, 1, let individuals work alone first. Number 2, take your time. And number 3, allow them to draw. So we'll be talking more about some of the best practices that have come out of this research and bringing it together in this Collect and Prune brainstorming technique that I've put together for you today. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you. What does it mean to ideate? Ideate means to develop ideas to help you fill identified gaps and solve problems. In order to ideate, we are going to talk today about the brainstorming technique to get there. What are the key principles of ideation? Well, brainstorming is a great way to bring together the collective whole of ideas. And what we do through that process is after we brainstorm, we'll have a lot of different ideas. We'll need to funnel those and filter those and then prioritize the vital few. Then it's really important after we're done with creating the idea is to make something tangible for us to accomplish. So we'll want to create a goal around that so we can be held accountable and we have something to track against and a path to get to that goal. Now, as we're sitting in the room doing our brainstorming, it's really important to leverage diversity. It's important to have a diverse set of thinkers from different backgrounds, different education, maybe different areas of the business. Gender diversity is really important. All of this is important to have in the room as you're going through the brainstorming so we get the best set of ideas to solve our problem. In addition, don't be afraid to invite your customer, the one you're solving the problem for, or who asked the question. Invite them into the room. Let them be part of the process. It really helps create that ownership and that buy-in that'll help you in the end. And work as a team. This is a team thing. Yes, we're going to be individuals and teams as part of the process, but the entire process involves a team. And this is a great way to accomplish team building. So step one of our collect and prune brainstorming is obviously to collect. So this is where we're going to use our divergent thinking. We're going to use our creative brain individually to come up with our ideas. So what we want to do is we want to hand out, my favorite thing, sticky notes to everyone in the room. You can do different colors per person if you have enough colors. It's not super important, but you can. And then you want to give everybody a Sharpie so that it's nice and bold on the sticky notes. Now, I like to actually, instead of using a Sharpie, so I can recommend this just because I've had some bad experiences in the past, I like to use a black Expo marker because it's still big and bold and black, but also if I accidentally walk up to the whiteboard, if I'm sitting in the conference room, I won't mess up the whiteboard. So that's a little trick that I have for you. I didn't put it on the slide, but I recommend that as well. So you want to hand these out to everybody in the room, and then you'll allow them the time. I do 15 minutes for a smaller question, but like we said, give them the amount of time that's needed. And then you want to write down as many ideas as possible in that period of time. Now, here's a couple of tips that I have for you. When you present the problem, do not give any solutions because like we said, you'll trigger that convergent thinking. So what you want to do is only state the problem in the question. Don't give any examples, no spoilers. Do not share any ideas out loud and encourage anybody else not to say anything. It's complete silence during this time. So simply state the problem to be solved or the business question. So for example, what are the key metrics currently used by the business? Everybody starts writing down their ideas. So what they do is the first thing you would put one metric. The second one would be another metric. And I pull them off and I create a separate stack of my answers. Now, we want to allow sufficient time for ideas, like the Harvard Business Review article stated. So if you have a simple question, 15 minutes might be enough. You might not state the amount of time, or you can give more time. One thing I like to do is just say, okay, start writing down ideas. And then you can start to just gauge the audience, have a moderator in the room who will be in charge of just checking to see, okay, is everyone pretty much done? Their pens are setting down. They kind of got all the ideas out of their head. And when that's happened, then you can go ahead and move on to the next step rather than setting an allocated time. Also, you want to make sure you're encouraging creativity. So let them know that no ideas is a wrong idea and they don't want to filter their ideas. So if they write something more than once, that's okay. Just keep it in the stack. We're not filtering at this point. We're just getting all the ideas out. So just keep all your Post-its. Don't worry. Don't crumble them up. Don't say, oh, I don't like that anymore, because we want to stick on the right side of the brain and still be just talking about creativity, not filtering and being too logical yet. No idea is a bad idea at this point in the stage. And we want that diversity of ideas. So what comes next? Next is where we flip into our left brain and our logical thinking. So now at this point, we should have a bunch of Post-its. Everyone should have some Post-its. And sometimes it's helpful to elect your moderator to help with this part of the process. So you can have everyone just go put their Post-its on the board, or somebody can come around, collect them, and just put them randomly on the board. Now, if you're not in a physical room, this works really well too. And I've done it this way in the past as well. I have used like a Google Sheet or a PowerPoint or something like that to do it. I also really, really love Miro, and I have that in the back of the deck as a great resource. It's a great interactive where everyone can log into it and you can all do it together. So that's a great way to do it remotely, and it works really, really well. It actually saves a lot because you already have it electronic and you don't have to translate what you came up with from the Post-it. So it's a great way to do it. So what you're going to do is collect them all together. And now we're going to start the pruning process. So with the pruning process, we're not getting rid of any ideas. All ideas are valid. But if you have duplicate ideas, you just stack them one on top of another. So stack the duplicates. If there's something that's similar but different, that's okay. Keep them separate. but stack the duplicates. And then that way, at the end of the pruning phase, we'll have a distinct set of ideas all over the board. Next up, step 3. Oh, but let me tell you, I talked to you about these tips. The tips are in the slide deck. So if you subscribe, you'll get a copy of the slide deck. So you'll have a reference to all these tips. Step 3, categorize. This is another part of using our logical brain. So we have all of these ideas. We might have some that are similar or kind of go together. So what we do, and I actually just happen to have a set of these because I really do drink my own Kool-Aid. For a session I did, I had some different ideas. And so what I did is I said, okay, all these things will be homework. So this is homework, and I made another Post-it to label them. If you have a whiteboard, you could just write on top what the label is for that. Maybe you're looking at issues and you're saying, okay, this set is data quality issues. This set is data integration issues. This set is application issues. It could be different things where you just categorize them together so you get bigger groupings. So you have your big rocks and your little rocks underneath. And this really also helps you to kind of see the volume that you have there and where there's some great areas of opportunity and where you can filter out some low-hanging fruit for the goals that you want to achieve. So in this part, you should have, like I did here, I had, okay, here's my prep work, here's the homework work, and here's the things that go with it, and just group them all together in a row. You want to make a row so that you have all of them, because you already have stacks here, and now you have a category, and then you have the relevant subcategories, basically, of ideas that really help flesh out what you're seeing from a design perspective, and it also helps flesh out the biggest areas of opportunity. So what do we do next? What are some tips? So remember, we're on our logical side of the brain now. Now we're really thinking about filtering and such, which a lot of times, if you're a technologist, you're really good at that side. You also are able to sort and label those columns. And this is where if you're using your moderator, you can have your moderator up there writing it, but you want to make sure you're involving the team. So you want to ask, okay, what should we call this? What things should go together? And then they can move things around. Or if you're online, they're moving them around and then they're grouping them and saying what things go together. So that's an important part of categorizing, and it really helps elevate your areas of opportunity. Step 4. Step 4 and 5 go together in some ways, but it's really important now we have all these ideas, and then we have categories of ideas, but we need to filter it in to what we can make actionable, what we can actually act on. And we can't act on everything at once. So what we do is you want to involve your same team together before you end this process to come up and vote on what are their favorite ideas. So they might be voting for their own or other people's. It doesn't matter, but you want to give them an opportunity to vote. So if you're in a room, you can give everyone sticky dots, and they can put a sticky dot on the stack of Post-its that are most important to them. You can, if you're on a whiteboard, they can put a check mark next to them, and you can count those up. If you're on online, you can do the same thing where they can interact with the software, Miro or whatever it is, and put tick marks. So either way, what you want to do is have voting for each idea, and let them pick their 3 to 5 favorites, and then you see which elevated to the top. And based on what elevated to the top, those are your first things that you'll want to work on and prioritize as a group. Now, once you're done doing that and getting that priority, you don't want to lose the rest. So you get that into your backlog. You have your vital few, and then you have your backlog of things to continue to work on. And then what you want to do with that vital few is, now that you've done the collaboration as a team, you want to then check it back with your customers, or a wider group of customers if you've included them already, as well as your executives or whatever it is. You want to just double check that, yep, that is back aligned with, our organization or what we need to achieve. So make sure you do that checkpoint as well as you get down, and share it. It's a great opportunity to leverage those relationships and build those allies. Now, I would be remiss if at the end of our ideation process and our brainstorming process, if I didn't also talk about what you need to do next. So obviously we said vote and share as being steps 4 and 5. And so that's the end of our brainstorming process. But there's one more thing that we should do at the end of our ideation. And that's to generate SMART goals. So when you're done and you've come up with the end, so now you're done with your brainstorming, you're done with your ideation, take that away and you can create SMART goals. You can do that in the same room while you're all there. You can come back together. You could do it in a smaller group. But what you want to do is make actionable goals that you can be held accountable for. It's something that you can track back to and say, yes, I've achieved this or I have not achieved this. Back to our metrics. If you're an analytics practitioner, KPIs are important. So make an actionable goal, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based SMART goals. We've all heard of them before. It's very important. Make sure also when we're doing that share conversation that what we're accomplishing actually adds value. So make sure that back aligns within your organization and with your customers. And look for some early wins. So if there was a category that you wanted to focus on, see if there's some early wins in there that you can elevate in the process to help be able to share those wins within your organization. Because it always feels good when you have a win. It really helps move you forward and create that trajectory that you need towards success. So I'm an analytics success coach. So how does this apply to analytics? Well, let me tell you. One area is those strategic allies. I mentioned how important it is to have allies within your organization who are needed to support your goals, any changes that you're making, and to create a positive emotion within your organization. Well, this is a great way to bring your strategic allies in. But you can use brainstorming to brainstorm who should be your allies or who would be great candidates to be your allies as well. Also, your customer champions. Besides having many allies within the business, you also need customer champions in different areas who will work with you to create the stories to move forward. You want to align, first off, with your data hungry customer champion and create their success story. Because when you create their success story, they'll share it with others and others will want to be part of your program too. So working with your customer champion to come up with ideas for success stories is a great way to brainstorm as well. Another area to brainstorm is key metrics. I've used this a lot. It's a great way to do it, but a great way to get ideas out of someone's head before you start organizing the goals and the metrics for your storyboard. So one key way to do this is to have everybody in the room write down all the metrics that you're using or the key metrics. So now you have this list on the board, and then as that way they've gotten all that out of their head. So they're not stuck on one thought process. And so then when you go through, walking through is what's my goal and what are the relevant metrics that help me reach my goal, that information is already out there in the parking lot for you to look at. So that's a great way to do that as you're creating your KPI blueprint. Another way is for your storyboard. You want to co-create with your customer. It's so important for success. That's why they're saying that I think Gardner is saying that only 20% of analytics projects will achieve customer value into 2022. I mean, that's next year, only 20%. That's sad. That's because we're forgetting to align with our customer and make them part of the story. So doing that storyboarding process with your customer and brainstorming those opportunities, brainstorming through that process and ways to make sure it's successful is a great way to do it. Another area is your change agents, the people that you need to help sell your solution, the people you need to train up in the business. Your change agents are really important. So brainstorming who to use for your change agents and brainstorming how to leverage your change agents is a really key way. And the last way would be data skills. Often we need to teach a data literacy in order to achieve a data culture. So coming up with a training program around building those data skills could be another great way to leverage brainstorming to reach your data culture. So here's some great ways that you could use brainstorming right now and start moving forward with a culture of data within your organization. And I hope you try out this technique in some way. So, to achieve a culture of change, to achieve a culture change, we need alignment. And that's where my alignment methodology comes in. And I just wanted to share that this Ideate um, brainstorming is a tool as part of the coaching program. And it really is the glue that holds the beginning and the ending parts together. And it's really key in success. So I wanted to share that with you and how important this is in order to find success and create buy-in within your organization. So there's this great quote from Vernon Howard. Always walk through life as if you have something new to learn. Uh, if you're here, then I know that you're walking through life as if you have something new to learn. And it's so important to reflect and learn. So when you try this brainstorming technique, if there's things that work and things that don't work, reflect and learn and pivot and make it work for you. And I hope you try it out. Like I mentioned earlier, I have resources and references to help you continue growing and learning. So if you want to learn more, I've included some great links within the slide deck for the references I notated earlier in the earlier slides, as well as additional resources, including books, the Mirror software program, and additional articles. So I hope you're able to learn and grow too. So now we have time for questions. So if you'd like to connect, here's my information. But it looks like we have a question coming in. Let me share it with you. What if part of the team is remote? How would you get buy-in from everyone? Oh, thanks, Rian. Hi, Rian. If part of the team is remote, I recommend using that Miro program. It's called Miro. It's a great way where everybody logs into it and you can work together on the same screen. And they even have some nice tools and templates within it. There's also some other programs that are really similar that you can use, and everybody just gets a login. I mean, you could get on a Zoom call and send them that login when you're on the call, and they just create a free account and jump on in. It works really well to help collaborate, especially in today's environment. So I really recommend that. Any other questions from anyone? I think we have another question where someone was asking, where's a good place to start with using the brainstorming program? I actually think starting small and doing it in an easy way is the best way to do it. Like if you have an issue you're trying to solve, like if you have a technical issue that you're not able to solve, this is a great way just to use it in a small group, in a small team, and try it out and see if it works. And I do recommend using it within your small team before using it with your customer, just so you can make sure it's working for you, you've got the technique down, and you've leveraged it as well. Of course, you could be like me and have it all over the place, like even for the personal stuff and everything, but you don't really have to have a big space for it. And like I mentioned before, doing it with an application, an online application, it can be really helpful as well. Well, we've come up on the time today. I've actually gone a little bit over. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm so happy that you were able to come, and I hope you try this out. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Subscribe if you want a copy of the presentation. And in addition, I'm just very excited to spend this time with you. And I hope that you have the good rest of your day. See you soon.